I asked her when the wedding would be. I asked with all the patience a mother could gather after days of silent waiting. And my daughter, she looked at me. She smiled. But it wasn't the smile I expected. It wasn't the bright, nervous smile of a bride-to-be planning her big day. It was a quiet smile. A smile that held a secret and a goodbye. She looked down at her hands, picking at a loose thread on her jeans, and she whispered, "Mom, we got married yesterday." The silence that followed was heavier than any scream. For a moment, just a moment, I forgot how to breathe. The air in the room felt thick, like water. It felt like the world had stopped turning on its axis. I didn't speak. I couldn't. My heart, it didn't race. It stopped. It felt like a heavy stone had been placed right in the center of my chest. I looked at her, but I didn't see her. I saw a stranger. I saw a woman who had just cut the cord that connected us, without even handing me the scissors. Married yesterday. Those two words echoed in my mind, over and over again. Yesterday. Without me. Without her family. Without a blessing. Without the white dress that I had saved up for years to buy. Without the sound of laughter or the clinking of glasses. Just done. Gone. I sat there, frozen. And in that silence, my mind began to travel back. It traveled back to the beginning. I am her mother. I remember the first time I held her. It was raining that day too. A cold, gray rain outside the hospital window. But inside, she was warm. She was so small, so fragile. I looked at her tiny face, her closed eyes, and I made a promise. A silent vow that every mother makes. I promised that I would protect her. I promised that no matter how hard this life got, no matter how poor we were, she would never feel alone. We didn't have much money. You know how it is. Small town life. The money was always tight. The roof leaked when the storms came. I remember nights, sitting up, holding a bowl under the leak, counting the drops. Pling, 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 just so she could sleep dry. There were days when the rice pot was almost empty. I would tell her I wasn't hungry. I would watch her eat, and that was enough for me. Her full belly was my full belly. Her smile was my wealth. I raised her with these rough hands. I watched her take her first steps on the cold tile floor. I watched her fall, and I picked her up. I wiped her tears when she scraped her knees playing outside. I foolishly thought, that I would always be the one to pick her up. I thought I would always be the one she ran to when the world hurt her. But children, they grow up. They grow up in ways you don't expect. She became beautiful. She became a dreamer. And then the screen came. The phone. The internet. A window to a world I didn't understand. And through that window, he walked in. A man from far away. From the Philippines. A place I only knew from maps, from stories on the news. A place across the deep, wide ocean. When she first told me, I laughed. I did. I laughed because I was scared. I said, "Oh, honey, be careful." I said, "People on the internet lie." I said, "He doesn't know you. He doesn't know who we are. How can he love you?" I tried to protect her with my cynicism. I tried to build a wall around her with my doubts. But she didn't listen. For the first time in her life, she didn't listen to me. She looked at me with eyes that were no longer a child's eyes. She said, "Mom, he is kind." And I watched her drift away. Not physically, not yet, but in her spirit. I saw her staying up late, whispering into the phone in the dark. I saw her smiling at a screen, a smile that I used to cause, but now it belonged to him. I felt jealous. Yes, a mother can feel jealous. I felt like I was being replaced by a ghost, by a voice on a speaker. And then she said she was leaving. She said he wanted to marry her. In 5 days. 5 days. How do you say goodbye to 20 years of love in 5 days? I begged her. I cried. I told her it was a mistake. I told her she was abandoning her family. I said cruel things. Things I wish I could take back. But I said them out of fear, because I was terrified of the silence that would come after she left. But she packed her bags. I watched her fold her clothes, the shirts I ironed for her, the dresses I mended. She put them in a suitcase, and with every item she packed, it felt like she was packing a piece of my heart. And then she walked out the door. She hugged me. Her body was shaking. My body was shaking. I wanted to grab her arm and lock the door, but I didn't, because love isn't a cage. Love is watching them fly away, even when it breaks you. So I let her go, and the house became a tomb. The silence was deafening. Let me tell you about that silence. Before that phone call, before I knew she was safe, the silence in this house was a physical weight. I would walk through the rooms that used to be messy with her things. I used to complain about the mess. I used to complain about her shoes left by the door, about her hair clips scattered on the table, about the music she played too loud. But now, the house was tidy, perfectly, painfully tidy. And I would give anything in the world, to trip over her shoes just one more time. I spent hours just sitting in her old room. The smell of her perfume still lingered on the pillows, a scent of jasmine and something sweet, like vanilla. I would close my eyes and breathe it in, trying to memorize it, because I was terrified that one day the scent would fade. And if the scent faded, would my memory of her fade too? Would I forget the sound of her laugh? Would I forget the exact shade of brown in her eyes? Fear does strange things to a mother's mind. It makes you hold on to ghosts. I started to imagine her life there, in that place I had never seen, the Philippines. I went to the library. I looked at pictures. I saw blue oceans. I saw busy streets. I saw mountains. And I tried to place her in those pictures. Is she walking on that street? Is she swimming in that ocean? Is she eating food I don't know how to cook? Is she speaking words I don't understand? The distance between us wasn't just miles. It was a universe. I felt like an astronaut watching the Earth from space, seeing the one thing I loved most getting smaller and smaller. And him, the man she chose. In the beginning, in my darkest moments, I made him a villain in my head. I imagined he was controlling. I imagined he was cold. I imagined he was taking her away to serve him. It is easier to be angry than to be trusting. Anger is a shield. Trust is walking into a fire naked. But then I remembered something she said when she was a little girl. She was maybe 6 years old. She brought home a stray cat, a dirty, ugly little thing, scratched up, one ear torn. I wanted to chase it away. But she held it close to her chest, ruining her clean shirt. She looked at me and said, "Mom, he isn't ugly. He just needs someone to see him." My daughter, she has always had eyes that see the good in people. She sees the heart, where I only see the danger. She sees the soul, where I only see the skin. So I had to ask myself, if she saw something in this man, if she saw a husband in him, who am I to say she is blind? Maybe, just maybe, she sees the good cat in him, while I am only looking at the scratches. Time is a funny thing. When they are babies, time flies. You blink and they are walking. You blink again and they are graduating. But when you are waiting for forgiveness, when you are waiting to know if your child is happy, time drags its feet. Every second is a hammer hitting an anvil. I remember looking in the mirror during those long days. I saw the lines on my face getting deeper. I saw the gray hair taking over. And I realized my job is done. The active part of mothering, the cooking, the washing, the scolding, the teaching, it is over. Now comes the hardest part, the spiritual part, the part where I have to be a lighthouse. I cannot run out into the storm to save the boat anymore. I can only stand here on the shore and keep my light burning, so that if she ever needs to look back, if she ever gets lost, if she ever needs to find her way home, she will see me, standing tall, standing bright, waiting. That is what it means to be a mother of an adult child. You stop being the captain of their ship, and you become the harbor, safe, quiet, always there. And then the call came. We got married yesterday. When she said those words, I didn't scream. I just sat down and I cried. I cried for the wedding I didn't attend. I cried for the hair I didn't get to comb. I cried for the hand I didn't get to hold. I felt like I had failed. I felt like I wasn't enough. But then she kept talking, her voice. It was soft. It was steady. She said, Mom, he treats me better than anyone ever has. She said, he respects me. She said, he cooks for me when I'm tired. She said, he holds my hand when I'm scared. She said, he loves me. And as I listened to her voice, really listened, I heard something I hadn't heard in a long time. I heard peace. I heard happiness, genuine, deep happiness. And slowly, very slowly, the ice in my heart began to melt. The anger began to fade. And the fear, the terrible fear that she was making a mistake, it started to dissolve. I realized I was mourning a wedding, but she was celebrating a marriage. I was mourning a ceremony, but she had found a partner. I wanted a party so I could show her off, but she wanted love, so she could feel safe. And who was I to tell her she was wrong? Today, she is far away. Miles and miles of ocean separate us. I cannot touch her face. I cannot brush her hair. But we talk. I see her on the screen. And I see him, the man from the Philippines. He smiles at me. He tries to speak my language. He calls me mother with a clumsy accent, but with so much respect. I see the way he looks at her. I see the way he protects her. And I know deep in my bones that she is okay. I look at the background behind her in the video calls. I see a different wall, different curtains. I hear different birds singing outside her window. But when she looks at the camera, it is the same eyes, my daughter's eyes. And when she smiles, and he smiles beside her, I see a new family forming. A family that started from my family, but is now its own tree, growing in new soil. I am not losing a daughter. I am extending my roots across the ocean. My bloodline, my love, is traveling further than I ever could. And there is a glory in that. There is a pride in that. I still miss her. Oh, God knows I miss her. Every morning when I wake up, there is a quiet moment where I wish she was in the next room. But that pain, that ache, it is the price of loving someone so much. It is the price of being a mother. We raise them to leave us. That is the tragedy and the beauty of motherhood. We give them roots so they can grow, and we give them wings so they can fly. And when they fly, even if they fly to a place we cannot follow, even if they fly to a future we didn't plan, we must stand on the ground, look up at the sky, and smile. Because her happiness is my happiness. Her freedom is my success. And even though she got married yesterday, without me, she carries me with her, in her heart, in her memories, in the lessons I taught her. And that is enough. It has to be enough. So, if you are listening to this, if you are a mother or a father, and your bird is ready to fly, don't hold their wings. Don't cage them with your fears. Let them go. It will hurt. It will hurt more than anything you have ever felt. But one day, when you hear the happiness in their voice, you will understand. You will understand that love, true love, is not about holding on. It is about letting go. Close your eyes. Feel the silence. Don't be afraid of it. The silence is not empty. It is full of your love. It is full of the job you did well. Fill that silence with hope. Send that hope out into the universe like a signal. They will feel it. I promise you, wherever they are, they will feel it. You did good. Rest now. You did good.